What's happening, guys? Welcome to another edition of PWT Pro Wrestle Times podcast. Yeah, I don't got my soundboard cooking, but I will in just a moment. This is a very special episode where it's like a Trashcast, I guess, an AEW Trashcast with Marv, the movie monster of Toon Wrestling, and make sure you go and check that out. We recorded this like a week ago, and then we got separated, and then we ended up recording more like a week later or 5 days later or something, and then I had to get the Elimination Chamber review show out, so then now it's being released like a week after that or something. So yeah, he talks about his Triple H puppet that we will see. But it's out in the open, so make sure you hit up at Toon Wrestling, which is Marv the Monster's YouTube channel, and make sure you check out his latest videos, man. They're so good. And his headlock headlines there, it's such a great little piece of work. But before we jump into the little interview, or just he co-hosted the show, he was a straight up guest, I gotta plug the Patreons, patreon.com/ProWrestleTimes. Sorry if you hear noise in the background. I'm literally watching the A&E WWE biography and Rivals here with Randy Orton here. And anyways, though, the patrons, Deserac, Cruz Madrid, Chris Killis, Ashley V, Russ Paxson, shout you guys out. Guys, on the Clip channel, we passed 1,500 subscribers. We're almost at 300 on this channel. I cannot thank you enough. This channel is in the main audio pod channel, is almost monetized as well, which is crazy, only a year into this. And over on the Pro Wrestle Clips, at Pro Wrestle Clips, you can become a YouTube member, and that's where the Pro Wrestle Clips live show will be taking place. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this one. Go check out at Toon Wrestling for Marv, and you know I'm at Pro Wrestle Times everywhere else. And man, I'm just so pumped that I've been bringing all these different characters from the IWC. There's a lot of funny folk out there, and yeah, Marv will definitely be back. But I enjoyed this conversation. I hope you guys do too. Here is Marv the Movie Monster. Yeah. So, folks, moving along, I am joined by the infallible, the eclectic Marvin the Movie Monster, everybody's favorite puppet. Round of applause, Marv. How are you doing, my friend? How are you doing?
Oh, thank you to your wonderful, responsive audience here. I'm going to look up what eclectic means, and then I'm going to get back to you about whether I got to say thank you or screw you. But yeah, everything's going good today. Bit of a eventful couple of days, but
to say the least, man. You
the name of the game. It's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, man. All elite, all triggered wrestling. You got those folk up in arms, man. But
I finally got him to sell for me, and then
at least someone's selling in that goddamn company.
Exactly. And then once you sell it, we'll get to it later, because I'll talk about like what happened, and then like what the outcome was, because this ain't the first time somebody on that level has sold for me, and it's worked out very well in my favor. So.
Yeah, like you're taking multiple W's. And I mean, this shit had me popping a few times, even just opening the bookmarks on my Twitter to do this with you and go over this with you. I got popped because you even got like a fucking Twitter context. You got like one of those like notes added to your community notes. Tweet, dude.
Yeah. Oh no, this is a lie because this noted liar said that it's a lie.
Yeah, dude, my word. So, but before we get into all that, Marv. So, pro wrestling. I mean, we are lumped in the IWC as people who are quote unquote AEW haters. Even though if you go on my YouTube channel in my comments, if I make a positive AEW video, I get called a fucking, oh, you're an AEW mark, blah, blah, blah. And then if I do positive WWE shit, which is mostly what I do because I enjoy WWE, I get called an E-drone, Fed mark, retard, all that. You go through it.
Yeah, no, I go through it too. Look, at the end of the day, AEW, I think we all say it, and they don't want to believe us, but it's the God's honest truth. You want it to be good because, I mean, like, I was around during the Monday Night War, and
Me
you know
too.
the Monday Night War was the best time to be a wrestling fan. I mean, you know, people like to over glorify the Attitude Era a little bit. I think, like, you know, you go back and you watch some of that stuff from like 98, 99, and you're like, oh, like, you know,
Yeah,
who's tuning in because Terry Runnels is pregnant and had a miscarriage, and now D'Lo
and like
Brown is
giving
doing
births
shit
to
for her.
hands and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
some of it was rough.
No, but I was excited because I am a fan of sports based wrestling. Now, I mean, like things like Mid South and Mid Atlantic, they were a bit before my time.
Yeah.
But you know, I I came into wrestling a little bit later. It was probably like 90, 98, I think was like right around. I remember my first ever pay-per-view was WCW Bash at the Beach with Hogan and Rodman versus DDP and Malone.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's good
I
shit.
remember
That's my
watching that.
same. We're about the same. So I assume puppets age the same as humans.
Yeah, monsters actually age the same as humans do for
Monsters
the
part.
most part. Yeah. Yeah. The you know, people like to you know, lump us all together, but let me tell you a secret. Let me tell you a secret. Blue monsters, they're the white people of monsters. Okay, like
Okay.
you know, you got Grover, you got Cookie Monster, you got they're everywhere. But I mean, like, you know, they're coming after orange monsters now, and that ain't happening. Look, as an orange monster, I've got like a couple of role models to look up to, and one of them's Hulk Hogan. So I don't got a very deep barrel to dig
Yeah,
into
dude.
there.
Hulk Hogan and Fozzie Bear. Now, is Fozzie Bear? Is he a bear or a monster? What is
He's
he
a
classified?
bear.
Okay.
He's a
All right.
bear.
All right. So, all right. I've always been a bit of an Elmo guy myself, but now I'm a Marv guy. So,
Oh, well, I appreciate that. You've gone up in the world.
so you came up in the Attitude Era,
Yeah.
more or less to say. So that's just like me, like Hulk Hogan. Speaking of him, he was like my favorite as a kid growing up, but really I was watching him in the NWO, and I was such a fan of the tapes my dad and my grandfather had shown me of him in the red and yellow. But I
Yeah.
mostly grew up with him wearing the NWO until, of course, the Ruthless Aggression era when he returned back
Right.
to WWE. So, um,
Well,
like,
for me, it was NWO Hogan was my first. I knew who Hogan was. Obviously, I had seen little snippets here and there.
Yeah.
But when I got into, I'll go off on a little tangent. I remember I was talking to somebody else at Monster Middle School, and you know, I was all into the anime at that point, and I was like, oh, Dragon Ball Z, and how you think they're gonna beat Frieza? And you know, he was like, we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about wrestling, and I was like, what? And then I was like, oh no, I'm going to lose my friends. I better watch this tonight. And then I remember watching and I was like, oh wow, I kind of like this. And
yeah,
then,
fucking for
you know what
lifer.
it was? It was like a comic book come to life. And I love comic books.
That's
I love
what pro
superheroes.
wrestling is, dude. And
It-
you and I,
it's-
sorry, you go ahead.
no, it's flashy heroes and villains in spandex fighting each other. Like it's a comic book.
Exactly. That's why I fuck with you so heavy, because I see like your algorithm, you know, you're about the MCU and you're about comic books, to shoot on my shoot work a little bit. I work in that realm, not to pull the curtain back all the way. Yeah, that's why I fuck with you, because I was like, oh, okay, this monster, he's into wrestling, but he's also into, like, look at all this other shit he's into that I'm also into, you know?
Oh yeah, man. You know, I'm a very diversified geek. You know, wrestling's a big part of it. Once I became a fan, it was, you know, I don't do anything. I don't know if you've noticed. I don't do anything half-assed.
No.
I tend to jump with both feet. And you know, I was like, okay, I like this now. So now I got to learn everything there is to learn about it.
Right.
And I remember I went down to the Blockbuster, I went to the Easy Video, I grab everything off the shelves, and you know, like just dug into, you know, all this you know, history and whatnot. So I would look at things like, you know, through tapes my friends had and stuff of like Mid South and Mid Atlantic, and I was like, well, this is interesting because like this is treated like a legitimate sport.
Yeah.
So you know, when this dweeb came on TV and was like, I'm gonna do sports based wrestling, I was like, oh, this sounds like it's gonna be my jam. Like, oh, it's great.
Me
and
too.
Then I tuned in and I saw a guy put his hands in his fucking pockets, and I was like, oh, okay, so this ain't shit. Okay.
Oh man, and they sold us the dream.
It was like they sold us this bill of goods
It was gonna
be like, hey, we're not going to do sports entertainment. But then that's not what it was. It was, oh, move over, Vince. Let us show you how we do sports entertainment.
Oh,
Like,
man.
you didn't want to do something different. You're just doing the same thing they do. And that's what people do. They're like, real pro wrestling. And I'm like, guy with hands in his pockets. That Bill Watts would have booked that. Like, I don't think so.
No, it's ridiculous. And that's what I always, I say it all the time now. I catch heat for it on X all the time. I say, WWE is sports-based wrestling. WWE is everything's a big fight feel. The divisions are concise. We know who's chasing what title and why. In AEW, you go over, like, okay, if you come into WWE, you fight under WWE rules. If you go into AEW, you can be a CMLL wrestler fighting for a Ring of Honor title under pure honor rules, and they'll introduce you in kilograms and shit. It's just no, like the whole, like the UFC, they'll take a fighter from, let's say, Bellator or Ryzen, and then they come and fight under UFC rules. When the UFC absorbed Strikeforce, the Strikeforce fighters had to fight under UFC rules. In AEW, to make it sports-based, like what I thought it was going to be was wrestlers from all around the world in the indies being forced to fight under AEW rules. And I thought when they go statistics and Tony Khan's an analytical, I thought they'd be saying on commentary going like, John Moxley, his finisher is the Death Rider, and when he hits that maneuver, he finishes 80% of the matchups. But when that maneuver gets reversed, he actually loses 48% of his matchups. So he's going to really try to, like, I thought it would be like that, sports-based. And
and when they got JR, I was like, okay, well, he's going to be a real, like, analytical sports.
But he just didn't give a fuck. Let's be honest.
Well, look, let's be honest here. What happened was, anyone could tell. He walked in there and he was like, well, you know what? I think this is the way we should do things. And then he realized that this little putrid mock was ignoring everything he said and just doing whatever the hell he wanted to do.
And like Brandon Cutler attacked him on Twitter and shit as well, like being like, oh no, I don't know. He was getting bullied by the AEW fans. That's the other problem too we get, is that like the reason they get it so hard now is because they were dishing it out so hard, and they still do, and they push the limit. Like, Julia's not going to sign there, let's attack her. Oh, Okada might not sign, let's attack him. Oh, Mercedes might not sign, let's attack him. And then what happens when they do sign? Well, you just stepped on your own dick. And like, by leaking shit to the dirt sheets, you're giving people, like, Tony Khan thinks it's cool to leak to Sean Ross Sapp and Dave Meltzer. It's not cool to do that, because then you're fucking it up. You're stepping on your own dick constantly, and then your fans are so goddamn toxic that if you don't align exactly step by step with what Tony Khan's doing, you don't like real wrestling, and you're a fucking death threat, and you're a fucking Sean Ross Sapp, block you, then unblock you, then block you.
Right.
It's just like, we don't want to deal with this shit, and that's why they're getting it so hard now, and especially with WWE being so hot and AEW not being hot.
Well, and I think you touched on it right there with the fans and how aggressive they were. It's you see it a lot of times and I don't mean to get like this, but you see it in a lot of political movements, like not just in the United States, but like all throughout history. Where you've got somebody that stands up and it's like, this thing that you love is broken, and I can fix it, and we will fix it together. Just follow me and we'll do it. And these people have so little going on in their lives that they glom onto this hope that this man has dangled, and now they're like, I will follow. They base their personalities then on it. They feel like they're part of a movement, and that was the problem from the beginning. And then they came out the gate and they were like, we're gonna take it to WWE, we're gonna compete, we're gonna be number one. And Jericho was like, we're gonna be beating Raw in the ratings. And that's my Jericho voice.
Jericho was like, Hashamna Huyao.
It's only a matter of time before we're beating Raw in the ratings. And there's a little preview of the Jericho puppets.
My whole shtick is Jericho is Trump. It's like, you know what, Tony, we're gonna do a show on a boat. It'll be huge. Trust me. Trust me.
Yeah, but so that's why they and then they started being like, we're gonna get these ratings, and we're gonna get this, and we're gonna get that. And then when it didn't materialize, all of us that they attacked were like, oh, now what? And they're like, why are you people so obsessed with ratings? Like, I know.
And even now they tout the key demo. And it's
they tout the key demo until they don't. The key demo is everything until it's not.
Right.
When they fail in the key demo, then suddenly it's about something else. It's we start scraping the bottom of the barrel for anything. And that is the problem. That is why it's never going to get any better, because they say it in Alcoholics Anonymous or whatever that is, or Narcotics Anonymous, whatever. The first step in resolving a problem is admitting that you have a problem.
Exactly.
And the main problem they have is that Tony Khan will not admit there's a problem.
Exactly. And it's the same thing we criticized Vince for. Like, Tony just has his fingerprints on everything, and that was what was bad for WWE. One person having their fingerprints on absolutely everything. That's never the best thing, But
then the other thing is, though, like, Vince would never sit around for these kind of ratings. Vince would never sit on his hands while things plummeted. Say, look, this is not me praising Vince McMahon as a human being, folks. Like, this,
you don't need to justify any of that to us, man. We know.
You'd be shocked because they're like, you're supporting rape.
I know.
Like,
we
what?
get it. We got it too. Yeah.
He was a guy that would be like, okay, there's a problem, we're losing people, we have to fix this problem, what do we have to do? That's why Vince Russo was able to rise up the ranks, because they were getting slogged by WCW, and he went up to this guy, and this guy was like, Vince, bro, I got the greatest ideas. And then he was like, well, goddamn, pal.
What was that? Well, tell me one of those ideas. I need one of those ideas really quick.
Yeah, and then he takes it to the creative team, and he's like, this guy's got the ideas, pal. We're gonna go this direction. And then that's when you started seeing things turn around. That's when the Attitude Era happened. Now, look, I think that Vince's main problem was that, and yeah, this is gonna sound weird now, but Vince's main problem is he didn't know when to stop. Like, you started doing the Attitude Era, and during like the rise of Austin and his title reigns and the Undertaker and Kane stuff, he was fantastic. And then you got to Katie Vick, and then it was like, oh, we've gone off the rails here, like Vince versus God.
I know. I'm gonna wrestle God in a tag match, and I'm going over too. Yeah. Get Kane in here. I want him to sleep with a dead body. Where's my son-in-law? You're gonna fuck a dead body. Yeah. If you don't do it, you're fired.
And I love hearing the stories about that, where Triple H, like, they're in the funeral home filming that. There's like a legitimate funeral going on in the next room, and Vince is like, yeah, like, and like Triple H is like, oh my God, I can't believe this man is real.
I know he's gonna puke. That's what I always remember. He's gonna puke.
The man's a psychopath, but I remember I went to a stockholders meeting a long time ago, and they used to be at like the TV studio. Yeah. And I remember, this was going back. You're talking like 2007, maybe like 2006. Mm-hmm. And I remember he said, eventually our entire product is going to be here. And he held up his phone. Yeah. And I remember looking at him and going, that ain't ever going to happen.
Oh, dude.
Like, oh, what the hell is this guy smoking? And, like, he knew in 2006, 2007 that mobile streaming was coming, and he was getting them ready for that. Like, that's the kind. And say what you will about him as a person, if the allegations against him are true, he's a terrible, terrible human being and deserves to rot in hell.
Yeah, of course.
But like, when you look at the business decisions he made, he was ahead of his time.
Revolutionized.
When it comes to TV production, yes. Yes,
but it's crazy how pro wrestling, like TV in general, like all sports are going to follow suit. My guy Hairline always points out, he's like, dude, say what you will about them doing shows in Saudi. He's like, but there's women on billboards in Saudi Arabia, and pro wrestling, not just pro wrestling, but WWE did that.
Yeah.
So speaking of milestones in WWE and contrasting with AEW, you, my friend, at Movie Marvin on X, and what's your YouTube channel? Plug that and shout that.
So a channel. I decided to start the channel because I was watching everybody fight. Like, I was watching everybody on Twitter fight, and they would like. And I was just saying to myself, they're all taking this so seriously. And I was like, we need someone to like actually like joke about it, I've been joking about wrestling forever. And so I was like, I want to like inject some comedy into it. And I want to like actually like, make people laugh and maybe make them realize that, I'm taking this entirely too seriously. Maybe we can all laugh at it. And so I created Tooneytown Wrestling. So it's youtube.com/Toon Wrestling. You know, we have our
Toon
song
Wrestling.
parodies up there. We've done Tony the Snowman. We've done the Chris Jericho, Only in My Mind. We've done Aubrey Ed,
Yes.
the Aubrey Edwards song. We did.
And this is why I instantly connected with you as well, because I come from a musical background, and then also it's exactly your approach where you're like, dude, we're gonna come at this with like a comedic approach, and that's what PWT was as well. And it was just like we just gotta talk shit on everybody, dude. And it's hilarious to me how that is somehow becomes like the focus of like Sean Ross Sapp, to where he's coming in our comments using the Fightful account, talking shit, and then you got Tony Khan responding to you, for instance. You know what I mean? And like we're just being funny. You're making fake Jericho parodies.
Yeah, no,
you're a monster, Marvin. I don't know.
We did the My NDA YMCA parody. We just did the Hamilton parody, and we've got the Tony Khan puppet, Tooney Khan. You know, he's kind of like the backbone of a lot of the jokes that we tell on the channel. Right. And we do the headlock headlines every week, and we try to put a humorous spin on the news. We get some flack because they're like, oh, why aren't you hitting WWE? Well, like I'm spending this whole weekend working on a new asset.
Right.
That if you've been watching the headlock headlines, you've seen the post-credits scene that's been kind of building to how we're going to stop poking fun at the WWE. So, but these things take a lot of time to construct, and I do it all myself. So
I had DM'd you about that as well, about like, and I was, and like, by all means, like I'm looking it's not that we can't laugh at WWE shit, guys. Like, trust me, we can. But I had told you too, I was like, don't fold though. Like, don't do this because these motherfuckers are telling you to. And you stuck by your guns, dude. And I applaud you so much for that, dude. Like, you are my favorite wrestling, like, kind of, I don't know. There's like AI channels that do like, AI conversation. I'm not so much into that. Yours is like the one that I love. Like I love watching your videos and shit.
I really appreciate you saying that, and I've always enjoyed your show too. Like, ever since I found it, it's gone into my regular rotation. Like whenever I see a new video up, and it's I've been making WWE jokes forever, like
me too. It's just that AEW's the new thing, So
we've always been telling AEW jokes, like just kind of like I'm sorry, WWE jokes, just like hanging around. Like you're gonna see when I'll just let the cat out of the bed when Puppet Triple H shows up this week on the headlock headlines.
Oh shit,
it's gonna be the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen.
I cannot wait, dude.
My version of Triple H is absolutely insane. Like we've got a bunch of I've had running jokes for years about this guy. Like, he thinks every match that he's in is the main event. So like WrestleMania 25, he's walking around being like, I thought we were doing that Shawn Taker thing. What happened? Easy night today, boys. Like, we used to do things like he thinks every black person's Booker T.
Yeah. Hey, Book.
He walks past Mark Henry and he's like, oh my God, you've let yourself go, Booker. Like,
oh my gosh,
that's something that's going to be popping up in a future episode. I'm giving spoilers now.
Yeah, you already
should not be
spoiler
doing.
alert. That's why you got to tune into PWT and make sure you tune into Toon Wrestling on YouTube. Tooneytown Wrestling
at Toon Wrestling is the URL. But yeah, it's a lot. It's easy to make fun of WWE for a lot of things, and we're gonna do it. It's just a matter of I had not been able to produce the asset that was needed in order to do this correct. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it correctly,
Plus, AEW's doing all the funny, silly shit lately. Like, come on, how can you not be making fun of Tony Khan as of this last?
Oh my God, right?
Like, dude, the guy just serves up gold. And speaking of which, so at Movie Marvin, my guy here, Marv, as I call him, he fucking, talking to you listeners here, he provoked Tony Khan himself, as well as Dustin Rhodes himself.
And to a lesser extent, Ricky Starks.
Yeah. So, and Ricky's always cool. I feel like he's always trying to have fun with it, like with everything.
Yeah, he was not that day.
Was he not? Okay. No. So he's actually trending right now. So I'm going to need you. I didn't see anything with Ricky. So you're going to have to fill me in on that portion. But
he was like, your content's crap. And, he went like,
he really did.
He went off on me.
So much more gold here than I thought. Marv, you're the best. Okay. So this is what you tweeted out 2 days ago, February 15th. This is February 17th at time of recording. So you tweeted out Tony Khan putting up a thank you to, so, pardon me, I'm actually not giving the right context. So after
Right, right.
Dynamite, it was the 200th episode of Dynamite.
And to be fair, that was in the summer. I just saw this image now, though. Somebody,
Okay.
I saw the image making the rounds, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, I
So
believe it was back in July where they had the 200th Dynamite.
so that makes this even funnier. Why do they care? Why would they care that you even brought this up? This is
Because they
fucking
are
even funnier.
soft.
Dude.
Because they are soft.
Oh my god, this is even funnier. Okay, so the 200th Dynamite, a graphic pops up. Thank you, Tony Khan, Dynamite 200. Marv tweets out at Movie Marvin on X goes, Tony Khan putting up a thank you. I'll do it in yo voice. No, I'm just kidding. Tony Khan putting up a thank you, Tony Khan graphic is the billionaire equivalent of Michael Scott buying himself the world's greatest boss mug. When WWE hits milestones, they thank the fans, which they do. That's so true. When Tony hits milestones, he thanks himself, which is so true.
And look,
Yeah.
Devil's Advocate, the thank you Vince chant when he was forced to retire, cringy. I don't defend it. I don't defend that at all.
There you go. So you just brought up an equivalent that you don't defend, that you didn't see a clip of.
But I also wasn't talking about that.
Exactly. It's not what even you were talking about. So, but there's some justification for you folks. So where do we even start? So Tony Khan responds to this at Tony Khan himself. It's great. He goes, haha, it was a surprise from the crew after the live 200th episode of Dynamite. It was a nice moment and unexpected. I appreciated it very much, haha. And
Okay,
you got
now,
ratioed, but I mean, who even cares about that? Who gives a fuck, to be honest? Like,
he's a celebrity, and I'm a guy with a two.
Exactly. You're
like,
a monster.
He is it just me, or does that not seem like a tweet that came from Tony Khan? Like, based on how you've seen him interact with others who have pushed his buttons in the past, like, it's usually like, you idiot, and like, he usually like gets like in their face and he like calls them names. Or look at the way he went at Eric Bischoff, like the way he was like, running around about Rossi Ogawa being fired. Like, this was, I was like, why is he so calm and collected toward me? Like, I don't know. For some reason, I was like, I wonder if like his Jamaican nanny Agape like took his phone and like tweeted that herself. Like, be leaving Mr. Tooney alone there, them monster.
Oh my god, man. Do one guan, man. Take the phone, man. What is this man waffling about?
Yeah, I just like, it felt weird. Like, but so then I was like, you know what, you're reading them, so why don't you go ahead?
Well, it like to I think maybe if you were like Eric Bischoff, he'd go off a little more, but I think he's trying to approach, because assuming he realizes you're a monster, you're in fact a monster. Like, I don't know if he was just trying to be like more cordial and like, well, actually, it was a surprise. Like, who knows where his Adderall run, where that dose of Adderall was taken.
He might have just taken a dose.
Yeah, we're not fucking like, I don't know. We got to be adults about this. Like, the man clearly takes at least Adderall, right? Am I wrong about that? Come on,
at the
guys.
very least.
Yeah. So, maybe kratom, maybe other things,
maybe other things that aren't over the counter.
Yeah. So, which is what a lot of people imply, and like, it wouldn't shock me because I've done those things and I've fucking hung out with people who've done those things, and I'm just saying, we're just being adults here about this. So Tony Khan definitely, like, who knows where his Adderall trip was at, how much sleep he's gotten on, or not had rather, because the guy fucking doesn't, like, how does he sleep? How does he run all these shows? How does he book Ring of Honor too? Like, no one ever talks about, man, this guy's booking Ring of Honor that no one's watching too.
Oh my god, Ring of Honor. I mean, like, I used to go to Ring of Honor like at the Rexplex, like, like back in the day, like watching the CM Punk Raven dog collar matches and things like that. This is what we're seeing now. Is just like, oh, they're like, oh, he saved Ring of Honor, and I'm like, keeping someone on life support while they're a vegetable is not saving their life. Like, sometimes you got to just pull the plug.
Yeah. So then Dustin Rhodes, who we've put over tremendously. I've put over tremendously on this show. The greatest AEW match of all time is Cody versus Dustin.
Yep.
You have a guy who every time he shows up, he might throw a destroyer in his match, but he's usually just making guys look really good, putting them over, giving people experience.
Absolutely.
The crowd invested. I saw Goldust at a WWE house show right near the tail end there, and he looked like he did not want to be there at all. And he was, I think, Rhino. and I started a fucking "You're a legend" chant, and he got fucking fired up, and he was feeling the vibes.
Oh, that's
So,
good.
yeah, and it was a dead ass crowd, but it was I
mean,
loved it.
This is the thing that I want to make it perfectly clear. Like,
Yeah.
even though he like sniped at me and then blocked me before I could respond.
Oh, he blocked you too? No, Dustin.
Oh yeah, no, he did. Yeah, he did. So I love Dustin Rhodes. Like, I love Dusty is one of my favorites of all time, and I
Dusty,
could never,
Cody.
I can never and will never disrespect his son.
Yeah.
Especially someone whose abilities that I respect as much as I respect Dustin Rhodes. He is a legend in his time, and I'm like, look, Dustin, he's defended. You can go ahead and say what he said. He didn't say anything to even.
No.
Everybody's like, oh, Dustin cooked you, and I'm like, no, he didn't.
No, Dustin Rhodes just responded, "Shut up, dude," and then he blocked you. Fuck, man.
Yeah.
It's so disappointing, but
and like I'd be like, oh, Dustin cooked you, and I'm like, at what point was that? Did I miss that part? Was it after the block? Like, because he just said, "Shut up."
Jesus, that's all he said. I don't see nothing. He didn't follow up. No, I'm clicking on it.
If that's the case, every kid on the playground in kindergarten used to cook me too. So
there's just people posting. I don't know. There's people like in defense of you underneath his shit too, though. Like,
oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people being like rare L bro, and like you see, of course, like AEW Neckbeard shout him out. He's a French Canadian. What else do you expect?
I love that guy.
Yeah, he's a
good friend.
He's a
good friend
dude.
of mine.
Yeah, he's a really good dude. I would love to have him on the show, but I just don't think he's interested in doing that.
You never know.
Yeah, I'll talk to him. Anyway, so he responded to that, and then I think the shit that popped me the hardest is the fact that community notes readers added context.
Oh my god!
To Movie Marv's tweet,
like, and then like, proof is that Tony Khan said this. Tony Khan, St. Anthony, he only speaks the truth, right? Like,
yeah. So he
couldn't possibly be lying or exaggerating. Look, I'm sure. I don't know. I can't imagine things are going up on that tron without his say so. Look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like, that ain't the end of the world, and I admit when I'm wrong. Pat Buck, who, I mean, like, I'm like, why do you even exist in wrestling, Pat Buck, let alone like work on any kind of high level? Like, what have you ever done to deserve to like work backstage at WWE? But he said something to. He's like, oh, it was Dean Malenko's idea, and I'm like, okay, well, if it was Dean Malenko's idea, I'm not going to disagree with it because I don't want to get stretched. But
exactly, dude.
Yeah, so then Ricky Stocks went off, and then like I don't even remember what he said, but I mean, he was something along the lines of, you're a content creator who makes crap content, and I was just like, this is like somebody, one of my followers, I didn't respond to him because I'm like, why bother? And like one of my followers was like, oh, Ricky Stocks, and I was like, look, Stockholm syndrome is a very real thing, like. Oh my God. Him feverishly defending the man who has single-handedly destroyed his career is definitely a choice, and it reeks of like the kidnapping victim who defends the kidnapper in court.
Yeah, I can't believe that he fucking. So he didn't block you though, did he?
No, I blocked him actually because I was like,
you were just like, fuck you. Yeah,
exactly. Like no, I've after the last couple days. I mean, like I was getting bile from every which direction, and these people are idiots. Like they have everything is, it's all the same. Oh, no, touch grass. Oh, you play with puppets.
I see
that's news to me. Like, ooh, wow, I'm a puppeteer.
And I just hate, it's like, bro, that's what they do in fucking, like, okay, what was Bray Wyatt doing? Playing with fucking puppets. So shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
It's just like, dude, shut the fuck up. But yeah, okay. Ricky Starks' response, so he just said, this is Rich from a paid blue checkmark, terrible content creator. I'd hope your terrible parodies was able to bring in $8. That's just shut up, man. Like,
to be fair, Ricky,
you're working for Tony for money. Sorry, you respond.
To be fair, Ricky, it does bring in at least $8. So,
oh yeah.
I believe it or not, like, people are like, oh, prove it. And I'm like, okay, here's my Twitter monetization report. Like, it's like, what if I make like $60 in a month and I spent $8? That's beer money, It's going out to dinner. That's, I am operating on a profit, unlike certain other companies out there.
So basically, to summate everything that went down, Marv, you talked some shit about Tony Khan. He responded to you a little favorably, and then Ricky Starks, who's on his way out the door, we all know that, ended up getting in a tiffy with you. You blocked him. Gold Dust, aka Dustin Rhodes, who everyone loves, gotten a tiffy with you too, but he just said shut up, dude, then blocked you right away. And yeah, so where do we
I
go
don't.
from there?
I mean,
Are
look,
you
again, I don't see the Goldust thing as a tiffy because, I love the
Yeah.
guy. And, if I say something stupid when I'm out with my friends, they'll say, dude, shut up. So,
Exactly.
it's not like he was like, your content shit the way like certain other people did. Certain other people who I would have been rooting for up to this point, but now can kick rocks. Uh, but yeah.
So like as far as yeah, I mean like so maybe Ricky Starks, you're like, oh fuck this guy. Now why do you think he goes hard? Like he considers himself an AEW original. You look
Yeah, I
at
think
it,
that's why.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
he's defending his money for the time being. The more I think that the more you show this guy that you're his friend, the more money he gives you.
So yeah, exactly. I agree with that fully.
That's always been like my take on it from somebody on the outside.
Yeah.
Like you look in and you see the look, wrestlers have always been whatever wrestlers always been Connies,
Yeah.
like and the Connie can sense, somebody with money. Like the
Yeah.
Mazak got the Mazzani. Like, like they know where there's a golden opportunity. This guy
The
came
money
along.
mark, bro. Mark
This
in
is
the
the
money mark.
this is the money mark of all money marks. The
Yeah.
money mark whose money will never run out. So,
Who's like a millennial fucking who's like a Reddit forum wrestler with infinite money. You
yeah,
know,
and is literally just happy to pay you to be his friend.
that's exactly it. So like I mentioned earlier, my father got me into wrestling, him and my grandfather with tapes and all that. And so my father obviously fell off. My grandpa, RIP, passed away. So for me, I started getting my dad back into wrestling now. You know what I
Good.
mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so now that the shoe's on the other foot, and he's really into it because he loves seeing Cody Rhodes and Charlotte Flair, and he sees Braun
Yeah.
Breaker, and he's like, oh shit, this, it really gets him into it. And I'll put on AEW as well. And he doesn't fuck with it as much. He's like, why? What the fuck's going on? But the one thing he puts over is he's like, oh, Edge is here? Well, he's fucking, they're probably paying him, right? And then I go, yeah. And he's like, well, who gives a fuck? Like he laughs
Yeah.
at Jericho. He's like, oh, it's like Hulk Hogan. He's just there getting his money, And that's what it is, man. And so I never will be mad at like Edge for going and getting $3 million a year from fucking Tony Khan.
No,
like, I'll never
if this
be
guy's
mad
willing to if this guy's willing to pay you that money, like you're gonna be able to leave to your kids. Take the money.
Exactly.
Take the money.
Exactly.
I
but that's not why. But then like, so like that goes without saying, I almost feel like. And then these other comments just come with like, I'll never blame Dustin Rhodes for that. And I won't blame him for like defending the money mark so he can keep the money coming in. Cause we know that's what it is. But it's just like at the same time, it's like, I don't know why you're even worried about Marv. I got to be honest.
You know what? At the end of the day, every TNA guy used to defend the hell out of Dixie Carter.
Yeah.
And now they can't rush to talk shit about her on the internet enough.
But she didn't have lifetime NDAs though. That's the other thing is that Tony Khan and all the AEW fans get mad when Punk and Cody don't trash them on fucking TV, but they're not allowed to trash them on TV. Meanwhile, MJF's whole gimmick is, but WWE. You know, their whole show is WWE, WWE. So it's like, fuck you. Like, I hate that Tony can throw it, but he can't take it. I don't like
Well, absolutely. I mean, and like he said those things in the beginning when he first started AEW, where he was like, "Oh, we're never going to copyright strike people. We're never going to take down content. We're never going to, and
he was thinking about Matthew Gregg. That's why he's like, "Oh, Botchamania is great. Botchamania is really great." And
I legitimately think he never, in his wildest dreams, imagined that anyone could possibly dislike what he was going to do.
No, I don't think so either. And I used to think that Jim Cornette, he would always talk about, no, like the guy that I met with was fucking deluded and he's kind of delusional. Yeah. And I told him like, and I was always like, I think Jim's just, because Jim sort of big ups the shit, he does. He puts a little extra spice on that shit.
He sells it. He's an old school guy.
That's what we do. That's what you do. That's what I do too, brother. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
We got to be entertaining. And so at the end of the day, it's like I just always looked at it like that. But no, Tony's convinced me over time that everything Jim Cornette's ever said about him, like or hate Jim, everything Jim Cornette's ever said about Tony's and the Young Bucks are absolutely fucking true.
Yeah,
in my opinion. And
you also see it with these children of very entitled, like wealthy people, accomplished people. You see it, like his father is who he is.
His father invented the fucking bumper or whatever.
Yeah, like whatever he invented. But through Tony's life, I guarantee you he has faced very little criticism from outside his immediate family, you know. So now, like, that's why, like, when you saw the guy brought the Tony Khan Wank's dog sign to the soccer game and he like flipped out about it, like, I'm just like, oh, okay. And like, you know, I encountered this too, because I said on Twitter that The Rock's daughter, who, you know, I affectionately refer to as Pebbles now because of what she didn't have charisma in a promo. She didn't. And then she flipped out. Like, flipped out. And sicked like the woke mob on me. And
oh my God, dude.
The cancel pigs were all coming out and like squealing and oinking at me for like 3 days. And I'm like,
what happened with Ava Raine? So you said she had no charisma on the mic?
I said she did that promo in the ring with the William Regal segment on NXT, and I said, well, I guess charisma ain't hereditary.
That's all you said?
That's all I said.
Oh man, that's what everyone says about her, bro. That's what everyone says.
I honestly think I am the first person in her life to have ever criticized her.
Man, come on. I swear that's everyone's criticism of her is like, oh, well, she just needs that work. She's not as charismatic as her dad. It's gotta.
And never
once everyone says about her.
Never once did I say she's terrible. She's never gonna get better. Just that she doesn't have charisma.
Say anything nasty, dude. Like that's crazy.
You know, I said it in a smart ass way because I'm smart ass. But
okay, but smart ass, and then like, because I remember like people like, fucking were going after you for that, and I didn't even know what was going on with that.
I have been like, Eddie Kingston is a fat shit. And no one's come after me for that. But like, I say this girl doesn't have career. Like, and people, and then, you know what? And here's the problem: people that are defending me, like, do not defend me in a way that, you know, like in a way that I would not defend myself. Like, they were going after her appearance. They were saying personal things about her. I do not condone that. I don't do that. And I don't condone it. You know, like, unless, you know, it's Eddie Kingston, because, you know, fuck him. But
oh man.
I don't like, you want to comparing him to Dusty is, I think, the greatest insult that Dusty Rhodes has ever
that yeah, we've talked about it on this show before, dude.
Yeah.
That's it's an insult.
That's a conversation for a whole different day. But like, no, I don't want to attack people's feelings. And they're like, oh, well, you made that Mr. Ed song about Aubrey Edwards, and I'm like, okay, well, for one, she's a twat, and for two, I made the song to that song because her name is Aubrey Ed and it fit. I was very clear to not call her a horse in that entire thing.
Just could you imagine, like, do you remember, this is what I always think about, right? So I think about a time where, do you remember the Comedy Central roasts? The roast of Pamela Anderson.
Oh my God, those were my favorite things.
They were my favorite thing in the world, bro. Like, I would be laughing so hard. Tears rolling down my eyes, my fucking dad banging on the wall, and the next, yo, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there staying up watching this on Comedy Central. All of them. I've seen them all like fucking so many times, dude. And obviously as times have gotten, you know, more, well, they don't even do them anymore. When was the last one? Anymore. Like 5 years ago? Like, who even knows? They tried Roast Battle. That worked for a little bit, whatever.
But platform to get for Jeff Ross.
Yeah, you know, and that's what Earl Skakel told. Whatever, that's a whole other fucking story. He was like, yeah,
you can't do those roasts anymore. It just
exactly. So basically, Pamela Anderson, for instance, everyone made the joke at that roast about, oh, her pussy's like the Batcave. Tommy Lee's dick is so big that it stretched her out. Just imagine, like, I don't know, dude. It's just what the joke that it was. So Aubrey Edward Horseface is the joke everyone makes. I'm so sorry, but like, Cornette makes that joke. Paul London makes that joke. Her name's Aubrey Ed. Everyone's made that joke. Like
that song is the closest. That song is the closest I will ever come to making that joke.
Well, like, if you put yourself out there, dude, like, if you put yourself out there, you gotta be willing to take licks about anything. That's all I'm saying. And like, Aubrey really puts herself out there, especially for a pro wrestling referee.
Too much.
Like, she doesn't need to bring.
I made the comparison the other day that it's like imagine like there's an extra in a movie. Like, the main characters are like in a park and they're like walking by the lake, and then right behind them, this extra just starts like breakdancing and like jumping into the water. Like, that's what she does. Like,
exactly. That is such a fucking, we gotta drop you an air. That's such a good analogy of it. That's such a good analogy. Yeah, dude.
The best referees are the ones that you don't know their name.
Exactly. And then because
look, we used to know their names because they used to announce them. You know, like it was an actual athletic contest. We used to know their names. Now, like the referees in WWE now, I don't other than Charles Robinson and or anyone else that was around in that era, I don't think I know a single one of their names, and that's good.
Yeah, and like I don't even mind knowing their fucking names. I think Bryce Remsburg's worse than Aubrey Edward, if I can be honest.
I'm not familiar.
Okay, there you go. Maybe I'm wrong just based off that, right?
Yeah.
General consensus there. But I don't know, man. It's just she puts herself out there, so I mean, anyone who puts himself out there, you have to be willing to take it. And that's why you see me in my comments of the YouTube channel, folks. That's why I respond even to the people talking shit. Not that I'm not interested in debating haters and shit. I'm not interested in doing all that. But what I am interested in doing is at least, let's talk about it. And like, you're not going to out troll me. I grew up in troll internet era.
Right.
I'm a fucking troll. You know what I mean? I'll say the troll is shit on Twitter. I don't even have a blue check, and I'll do it.
Right. Yeah, well, so. And they like, and the big thing that they were all yelling at me about with Ava Raine, they were like, she's 22. She's 22. Right,
so I saw, didn't Brooks Jensen
didn't
Brooks Jensen or someone quote tweet you and say that? Yeah, and go, she's 22 or something.
She's 22 and living her dream. Look, your dream doesn't mean dog shit to me, okay? As a consumer, as the audience, I care about one thing: being entertained. I don't give a shit if it's your dream to be on TV. If I don't like it, I don't like it. Because at the end of the day, these shows are not being created for you to live your dream. They're being created for the audience to enjoy. That is how money is made. I'm sorry, this generation, but it is not about you and your dreams.
Plus, what about Marv's dreams, man? You got dreams of like teaching kids math and like popping
of course,
under beds and closets and shit.
Obviously.
What's happening, Pro Wrestle Times listeners? Phil Marks here, and I just had to interrupt myself babbling for 1 second to talk about Pro Wrestle Times' affiliate partnership with Fanatics and WWE Shop. That's right, you can get your favorite WWE Superstar merch, tees, caps, hoodies. We're on the road to WrestleMania, folks. There's so much at WWE Shop, and if you use our affiliate link below, not only will you be directly supporting your favorite WWE Superstar, but you'll be supporting PWT as well, and you'll be supporting your drip. Check your reflection, it'll look like perfection. And did I forget to mention, you'll grab all the attention by clicking PWT's official WWE Shop affiliate link below and get you some digs now. Let's get back to the show. Okay, so speaking of fucking dummies, I do a segment on Pro Wrestle Times podcast, Dave Meltzer, dummy of the week, and actually
this is a good week for that.
Yeah, I actually have a few of them lined up. So, well, here, I guess if we're doing the segment, we got to do it properly. So, Dave Meltzer, dummy of the week. Dave Meltzer went out and just completely. So this is at Meltzer said what, which is a great follow on fucking X.
Great one. And another really good one to follow, by the way, is Meltzer versus Numbers, where like he actually like breaks down like Meltzer's star ratings as opposed to like other people's ratings, and he like gives you like the inflation that Meltzer gives.
Meltzer versus Numbers.
Meltzer versus Numbers. He's really good.
This is per like Wrestle Purists, who's just on fucking AEW's balls, dick and balls all day.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy, okay, so they tweet out per Wrestling Observer newsletter, so follow along here. Tommy Dreamer is now the TNA head of created, as many expected, with Scott D'Amore gone.
Yeah, and you know what? I was when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, good for Tommy. Like, that's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Me too, but it's just hilarious that Dave just first to click it. You got to click me. I got it first. I got the inside info. Meanwhile, he has info on nothing besides AEW. Sorry to freak out.
Unless it's common sense guesses.
Yes, dude. Okay. So then Tommy Dreamer, so this comes out per WrestleZone, Tommy Dreamer disputes report about him taking over TNA Creative. And then we get a Sean Ross Sapp. Shout out Sean Ross Sapp, my best friend. We haven't been feuding or anything. I love you, buddy.
You're pretty personal, buddy.
Yeah, so contrary to rumors, we're told that Tommy Dreamer is not the head of creative in TNA. The team features Robert Evans, Hunter Johnston, who's Delirious, obviously, Tommy and Tommy Dreamer. They'll be supported by Jorge Barbosa and Gail Kim, Ariel Schreiner, a bunch of names, right?
That's a quality team.
Sure, fuck yeah, dude. Every name there is great, and then here is
Sure.
just Tommy Dreamer
Everything
himself.
is staying intact how it was before, with myself, Robert Evans, and Delirious from Ring of Honor. So there are no changes, and purposely made sure that that was a thing. So whoever reported about my stuff in my life, thank you.
Whoever,
But
you know, Tony.
as someone who's been doing the same stuff for the entire time I've been there, nothing has changed. Everything is staying.
So basically, Meltzer, thanks, bud. No fucking thanks, bud.
Airball.
Airball, yeah. So him just your thoughts, Marv, on Dave just making more shit up randomly because nobody but AEW tells him things.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is that he doesn't have any sources anymore. He's burned every bridge and betrayed every friend he's ever had because he needs to kiss up to the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Tony Khan. And I think Triple H is cracking down hard on dirt sheets, obviously, because, like, he wouldn't let, like, Nick Houseman in for, he didn't give him press access at the Vegas event, and, like, all the other dirt sheets, he was kicking them all out. He's got nothing anymore from that side of the fence. Tony obviously is feeding him direct information, so I believe him when it comes to AEW stuff. But anything with WWE is just, it's all guesses. That, like, I on the last video, in the last Headlock Headlines, episode 4, we debuted our puppet Dave Meltzer, and one of his big things that he said, he was like, oh, I think they're going to be TKO is putting a lot of pressure on because they really want WrestleMania to be a good show this year, and that's the exact kind of thing that he says. He's like, newsflash, WWE wants WrestleMania to be good.
Yeah,
like. It's all just common sense. Like, when
I know
he threw out 87 different scenarios for Cody and Rocket, still got it wrong.
I know I know, dude. You can't make it up. People, yeah, I get, it's weird though, because when I shit on Dave, mostly people just laugh. If you shit on Sean Ross Sapp, people come after you, bro.
Well, no, he comes after you, and then galvanizes his troops.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude, I know all about it. So, I got more, bro. I got fucking more. I got more Dave shit here. So, per Wrestling Observer newsletter, this is via at WrestleLamia. So, shout out WrestleLamia. I suppose they make like top 10 lists and shit, don't they?
Yeah, I'm not 100% familiar, but I know the account.
So basically, AEW talent is reportedly frustrated with Tony Khan, feeling the popularity is steadily declining, even though Khan presents the product in a stronger light. There is also a lot of frustrations from a circle, since talent comes to the shows and sees the smaller crowds. Since the start of the year, Khan always paints a positive picture about the company being stronger due to increased revenues. Lie. So he's lying to the talent.
Yeah, of course.
Or bringing up ratings. Okay, you guys say ratings don't matter. And there's the feeling that popularity is declining overall and changing. How is that a feeling? We just know that's the case.
No, the numbers support this. Like, the thing I always say is quality is subjective. Numbers are objective.
Right. And then we have a report like this saying, so the talent's frustrated. And then we have a report like this saying, like, the deal between AEW and CMLL means that for any show CMLL talent appears on, no other Mexican wrestlers can appear who work for, like, the other companies like AAA. So, like, the Lucha Bros and all of these guys. Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
but doesn't that also include, like, Tony's contracted wrestlers? Like, if Andrade was still there, would he not be able to be on TV?
That's what we're saying. It's like,
good thing you got out of there, Andrade.
Think about thank God Andrade got the fuck out of there. Like, think about like, you have Roosh on your roster, and Orange Cassidy's your international champion, and now you're gonna jeopardize. I don't know if he's down with CMLL or AAA, but it's just like, you're like, if that's true, I just tweeted out, if that's true, like, Tony is an incompetent fucking human being. And Meltzer,
what is he attempting to do with CMLL?
I don't know. Who's he trying to get over?
I think he's trying to strike back
talent. Or
didn't he have a thing going with AAA and it didn't work out? Like, he was probably poaching the talent and not giving them anything back like he normally does.
Dude, that's what he's done with everyone. So that I'm not.
I don't know
specifics, but that's what he did to TNA. That's what he did to New Japan Pro Wrestling. So what you're saying, there's fire to that smoke, more than likely, right? Like, it's a repeated.
Probably. I mean,
it's a pattern, dude.
Conan is very critical on Conan's podcast. He's very critical of AEW. Conan and Disco and them. Yeah. They're very critical of what.
And shout them out.
Yeah, big time. Love those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's it. I think Conan's saying mean things about him, and it's just like whatever I got to do to strike back, and get, he needs to, now that WWE is working with working with TNA and like doing other things, like all of a sudden the forbidden door is not so forbidden anymore.
And it
And so
just
now he needs more. He needs more. He's got to be that inclusive guy that like, oh, I help all these companies by going on the TV and talking about how the garbage. Like,
oh god.
when he cut heel promos on TNA for weeks and
Oh.
weeks with no payoff, and then had Kenny Omega come in and decimate their entire roster. And then when he lost the belt, it was on Rampage to Christian,
And then they
AEW
gave
contracted
Christian
wrestler.
to Impact. Yeah, then they said, yeah, Christian, you just go back to Impact, fucking drop the belt. Like it was, it was like, here's like the leftovers of what the story was. I know, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. We lay it out. You laid it out perfectly. Every episode of this fucking show I do, I lay out these scenarios. Nothing's gonna fucking change. It's crazy too, because we know Tooney is seeing your tweets. Take some fucking advice, maybe, If you're seeing these tweets, Tony Khan, of fucking Marv the Movie Monster, take some goddamn advice, maybe. Jesus Christ. Like it's not all in bad faith, dude. You got to accept some of this sometimes, some of the criticism. But anyways, so the last one here, and maybe this is actually Dave Meltzer smart moments of the week, but Dave Meltzer basically shits on the, unless this was deleted. Yeah, see, so the tweet was deleted by AIR Gold, but
Okay.
but basically Dave Meltzer shits on the Darby Allin promo on AEW.
Yeah. Yeah,
he goes,
did.
he goes, I thought the Darby Allin, the video, sorry, I guess AIR Gold, he's like an AEW fan, so he must have deleted it because he posted that, and then everyone was probably going like, told you so, motherfucker. But anyway, so Dave Meltzer speaks on the Darby promo. This is via @JulianWeeks. He goes, I thought that Darby Allin interview was so counterproductive. I couldn't believe it. Basically, his interview was to get over Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Biggest star in WWE. It was
Got
so
a Cody
good stuff.
chant going.
So basically, Meltzer says this like a fucking idiot, but what he's meaning to say is basically his promo got Cody Rhodes over and shit all over everything the Young Bucks have done since the inception of AEW. Basically saying what Jim Cornette said this whole fucking time.
Right.
And then they got a Cody chant going on AEW. And it shows you that a lot of the people who go to these shows, like the majority of the people going to Sting's final match, are people who would probably go to Monday Night Raw and a SmackDown, and they'll just go to whatever wrestling because they like fucking wrestling. And it's not because of what you're delivering as far as quality content. Like they just want to see the matches. That's how I feel anyways. I think
that's accurate.
Yeah, and I think WWE gets a bad rap. Like I put a tweet out that blew up, melted everyone's brains. I just took that AEW tweet that everyone posts, AEW fans like real wrestling, and I just flipped it and went, WWE fans are fans of pro wrestling, AEW fans are fans of AEW. I just flipped it. Everyone melted down. I got attacked. It was hilarious. I think that does ring true. I think that there's more casual, like a lot of WWE. If you look at, there's so much more WWE fans than there are AEW fans, just objectively speaking, that probably a large chunk of WWE fans are also just pro wrestling fans in general. And they probably think AEW stupid, but when they come to town, they're going to go check them out. Like Sting's final match didn't sell out because the goddamn Young Bucks are on the card. It sold out because it's Sting's final fucking match. And
of course, you get a lot
anyone will go to that.
In Greensboro.
Yeah, you'll get someone who hasn't gone to wrestling in fucking 10 years go to that match. You know what I mean? So basically, yeah, Dave just said they're getting Cody over, and it was so Vince Russo. Your thoughts on just that huge, and maybe this is Dave Meltzer being smart. It actually is. But all I'm saying is when Dave is getting fed up, you know something's wrong with AEW. What are your thoughts on this whole Bucks angle, the Sting shit, and Darby just getting like Cody, the main event of WrestleMania, more over than anything AEW's doing?
Look, Sting is one of my top favorite wrestlers of all time. The Crow Sting, the silence, all that stuff. Like, when I went back after discovering wrestling, and I went back and I watched all that stuff leading up to Starrcade, 98, no, 97, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or was it 90? I don't remember which one
it was. It was
97, I think.
Yeah.
Like, because before I was watching, but like when I went back and watched that, I'm like, oh man, this is like wrestling Batman. Like I'm like all about this guy, and I popped hugely. I popped huge. I loved him in TNA. I popped huge when he went to WWE. I was so excited, and then they destroyed him immediately. I mean, it was just awful. The Sting's WWE run is one of the things that I hate WWE for to this to this day, and always will.
I didn't like that he lost to Triple H, but then I liked how he was inserted in that Sting, pardon me, Seth Rollins Sting angle with the Sting statue, and
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was
Rollins
fine,
had both
but
titles. Like I like that they inserted him in that picture right away. And I didn't hate it so much, but yeah, it seemed like they were almost like Dean Ambrosing him. They weren't making him like the Sting up in the rafters. They were like, we're gonna make him like a wacky, crazy guy who
well, no,
who
and then
hides,
like the Triple H the Triple H match. I mean, it was just atrocious.
It was atrocious. It was
awful. His bald spot was all out there hanging out, and then they send the NWO out there. I'm like, why would the NWO come help Sting? And it was for no other reason than the whole clique was out there. You had Triple H, Shawn, X-Pac, Hall, and Nash out in the ring together at WrestleMania. They weren't like, if anything, if you're gonna send a group out to like help Sting, you send out Flair, Arn, Tully, and Barry Windham. You send the Horsemen out, like. But yeah, I guess they wanted to get the whole clique out there or whatever. I will never forgive them for that. But yeah, the Sting's last match, and then like you look at like what he's done in AEW, it's been disgusting for his reputation, for his legacy. He wrestles in a long sleeve t-shirt. I'm like, Steve, how bad could your shoulders and arms look? Like coming out there in that long sleeve t-shirt and jumping off balconies and banging his head in the floor. It's sad. It's sad to watch. On the one hand, I'm glad it's over. If they actually end it, I do have a theory that Ric Flair turns on Sting one last time,
and then they get one last,
and then he don't retire, and then those 15,000 people that bought the ticket are going to be really mad.
Or even Darby. Like I always thought that it made sense. Like, and the reason Sting was doing all that crazy shit was so that the retirement could be him putting Darby over in some crazy hardcore match in the end.
That's what I thought too. Like,
and that's what a competent booker would do. But fucking Tony Khan is everything's just so great here. It's just so great.
And we're gonna put over the Young Bucks. Like I guarantee you, when Flair turns on him, he goes with the Young Bucks because he fits in with that gimmick they're doing.
So speaking of that, there's been a lot of contention. John Alba, Conrad Thompson, Eric Bischoff, they're bickering over, just on their collective podcast there over like the whole Young Bucks Sting angle. What do you?
Let me guess. Conrad thinks it's great.
Oh yeah, him and John Alba are like, the story has been and it's just like, no, dude, like, if they wanted this to be a story, they would have did it with Punk. Like the story that Conrad and them are fantasy mark booking, that's what they're doing too with the whole Cody thing and the Rock thing, and it's fine. Like, do your little thing, but just what are your thoughts on like the whole Bucks just sort of inserting themselves in this already sold out house with Sting? And,
you hit the nail on the head.
To work with them, which I understand. I would want someone who could bump around. I would want people who could make me look like $1 million, which obviously the Bucks can do. But the thing is like, just as far as like people saying, oh, the storyline and the story of them just like beating Big Bill and Starks, and like they were an undefeated tag team, but then this was like an afterthought where Tony's like, oh, I know, why don't we give you the tag belts? Like, what are your thoughts on this whole thing? And
it's garbage. It's garbage. It's just throw shit on the wall and see what sticks booking. Like, that's it. There's nothing else to it. You're
not into the Bucks at all? You're not into this new?
No. Like, oh my God, I can't stand them. Like they are everything that is wrong with modern wrestling. They if you were to create an avatar of like everything wrong in wrestling, it would be the two of them.
The creator wrestler of like, how would you design your jobber?
If I was like design Marvin the Movie Monster's worst nightmare scenario, and it's you design them.
So I like that they're leaning into this shit. I do. I'll put it over, and it's interesting. I go like, okay, I'm actually interested in them actually leaning into this like fucking EVP thing, but just like, why didn't you do it with Punk and draw a bunch of money? Like, I just don't get...
because they're children.
Yeah, like now Punk you're doing it now with
Punk
Sting.
was apparently willing. Punk was apparently willing to work with them, and they're the ones that said no.
He was. So Marv, while I have you here, so just one last thing I kind of want to talk to you about quickly is your buddy and ours of the show, AEW Disciplinary Committee parody
Love
account.
love that guy. He's one of the greatest guys on Twitter.
Is he good? We were DMing yesterday.
Good dude.
And chopping
Great
it
dude.
up. Yeah. Okay. So
one of my favorites. Like
good.
Like that. Like there's like there's a lot of fake people that you encounter. Like in the world. That ain't one of them. He's just a good dude. He's can't say enough good things.
So your buddy, and earlier in the show we talked about how Matt Hardy, or maybe this was off podcast, but Matt Hardy and the Hardy Boys, they keep making headlines for not being happy. They keep making headlines.
I will not die.
Yeah, literally. For driving.
I don't have a brain left and I still won't die.
These like weird tweets, like reels and TikToks and all this shit from Rebby Hardy were coming out. And people were in my comments telling me that this is a work, bro. It's a work. They're working. And I'm like, what's the work?
What's the payoff of that work?
Yeah, with Rebby saying her husband has CTE and dressing up, putting on an Edge t-shirt and saying, playing Edge's theme and saying she'll fuck him. And who does that get over, bringing their kids into weird things, like weird shit like this? Like
he gets Edge over.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone's saying.
By the way,
always gets over on Hardy.
The career that Edge had after all that, like I've always said, like this is proof that like in life, like the bad guy does win.
Yeah, like, dude. It's like Scott Hall said, man.
Glorious career, and deservedly so. Edge is great. I love Edge. He's managed to like embarrass himself in AEW, but he hasn't fully torched his entire legacy yet. So.
Just the dick wiggler took him to the fucking limit, which is unforgivable in my book. But Edge, another Canadian hero. So, but anyways, though, AEW Disciplinary Committee, what is his handle exactly? At AEW Disciplinary. Okay, that's the
AEW Disciplinary.
Yeah, and so fucking.
By the way, people think we're the same person. Like.
They think like you're a burner, or
they think that me, him, AEW neckbeards, like they think we're all the same person.
No, I can confirm that. No, that's not true, guys. I can.
They even said that like somebody was like, "Oh yeah, you're all Alyssa's burners" or something like that. Like,
my god.
I was like, well, if that's the case, I'm gonna go play with these boobs.
You're all whose burner?
Somebody said something that we were all Alyssa. But why Alyssa?
But why Alyssa? Yeah, okay. Sorry.
I mean, she's the best. She's great. Yeah, but it's funny because like all of us are friends. Like we all talk all the time. Like we have a group chat and everything like that. So and like WWF Counselor, he's in there too. And
WWF Counselor. Okay, I'm familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, he goes. I think it's like AWW Freakazoid Nightmare or something like that.
Yeah, Freakazoid Nightmare or something like that.
Yeah, and then Death of AEW. Like we get accused. He's a great guy. He's he's part of our like whole little like group and like they're all great.
So and then with them all having these AEW gimmicks in their handles, I've wondered, and I talked to AEW neckbeards directly about this. I messaged him and talked to him about this, and I was like, "Yo, so if AEW fails and goes out of business, what is your account going to be? Like, are you just going to meme old AEW shit?" and he didn't really know. He didn't really have an answer for that.
Well, that's the thing. Like people are like, oh, Tony Khan, he's created so many wonderful like careers for so many people in the wrestling business. I'm like, yeah, outside the wrestling business too, because I've got a thriving YouTube channel because he's an idiot. Like,
oh my goodness.
I can't lie. It's like the Joker and Batman in the Dark Knight, where it's like, what would I do without you? You complete me.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
It's like I feel like the Joker in that instance, where it's just kind of like, oh, please never go away.
And I'd be remiss, and so would fucking Eric Bischoff and Cornette and all these guys, to say that me reviewing AEW and me like laughing at funny AEW shit and Dave Meltzer and stuff, like me reviewing Dave Meltzer reporting fake WWE news and shit, gets me more hits than anything else.
Of course. I mean, look, I made a puppet. I made puppets of Dave Meltzer and Tony Khan.
You're preaching to the choir, brother. So it's like we'd all have to admit that, but it's like that is so telling that fucking talking about AEW, like Jim Cornette reviewing an AEW match for 4 minutes is more popular than most AEW.
That's the greatest thing.
Like that's so telling, and that's
like I love the fact that like Eric Bischoff and Jim Cornette are probably making more money off of AEW than most of the AEW wrestlers are.
Yeah,
like man.
And I get shit too, though, because like when I do like, because I'll call out. I just called it out the other day. I'm like, dude, WWE fucked up. They pulled a Tony Khan because we all know it's Becky versus Rhea at WrestleMania,
Right.
but then we got Rhea versus Nia at the Chamber. And then Becky's in the chamber match, so it's like we already know who's winning like half the card, and then factor in Drew's gonna obviously win that other chamber. When I do a video like that, though, people do come in and be like, "Oh, fucking AEW," like you get accused of it either way, you really do.
Yeah.
But it's just definitely like the AEW side gives us way more comedy. Like you don't see Triple H responding to celebrities unless he's like, "Come to the event."
Yeah,
it'll be a good time. Like he does,
because he does this thing called being
O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Yeah, he does this thing called being a professional.
Exactly.
Like,
so
yeah, but it's funny because like, you know, people are always like, "Oh, you just a WWE dick rider, blah blah blah," and I'm like, I gave it to WWE pretty hard in the last Headlock Headlines. Like now that we have the Triple H character, you know, out there, you know, I'm able to criticize them more because, you know, I have an outlet to do that. It was I don't like to do anything unless I can do it the right way. So I've kind of been holding back like my WWE stuff until I had, you know, a Triple H ready to go, because that, I mean, I'd rather you see that than I just make like a still image talk or something like that, you know?
Yeah, exactly. No, and that's fair, man. And again, dude, you don't gotta even you do you. Don't let no motherfuckers make you explain a goddamn thing.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like I used to like I used to like fight back at these people. I used to be like they used to be like, "Oh, you play with puppets on the internet and you have a failing YouTube channel." And I used to be like, "We're under, you know, at the time, I'm like, we're under 2 months old, and we're over like 3,000 watch hours, and you know."
Yeah, that's what people would say to me too, and I'm like, dude, I'm getting more hits than podcasts I've watched for fucking 10 years now. I get more hits than them.
Like a lot of the channels.
Like why? And it's just like fucking come on, like I don't care. And then people going like, "Oh, like this is what people would say to me, right?" They're like, "Oh, fucking 300 subscribers." Like back when it was like lower, like a few months ago, and it was like, "Yeah, dude, that's Daniel Tosh just started a podcast 3 months ago, and I had more subs than him at one point, technically, on a technical level here." So is Daniel Tosh shittier than me in that moment? No, like
no,
it has nothing. We numbers go up from 0, from 1. You know that, right? You
so
they go, "Oh, you're failing YouTube channel." What's failing? Fucking your channel's growing every
Well, what I used to always say to them is, start your channel tomorrow and then come talk to me in 2 months.
And you don't even upload that much. That's why I'm so impressed.
But now I don't like. I don't want, well, because there's a lot of like back end production.
I know, but it shows
once we hit the 4,000 watch hours and we're monetized, it's right off to, you know, like off to the races. I'll be doing 3-4 videos a week at that point.
And it'll be worth it at that point too, man.
But thanks. But like now I don't even feel the need to like, and I was always like, "Oh, I'm never going to block anyone. I'm never going to be that guy that blocks people." Now I'm like, it's gotten to the point now where like after the Tony sniped at me, I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I'm just going to block, like piss me off and I block you. Like sometimes I'll feel froggy and I'll want to like, sometimes I bat them around a little bit because like I'm much smarter than they are and they like can't like match wits. But like once they like piss me off, then I'm just like, all right, you're done. It pissed me off because they don't like, I don't care enough that I get pissed off, but like,
and a lot of them are there just to do that. A lot of them are there just to, that's what I realized too, is that now I don't sweat it at all. Like I know when I put out a fucking triggering ass tweet, I'll purposefully disappear for like a couple few hours. Let the discourse go. Because there's tweets I know that I put out and it's gonna this is why I won't get a blue check either, because motherfuckers will then go, "You're just doing this for your check." Now I'm not shitting on anyone who has a check. I get it. Do it. It fucking makes you money and shit, trolling and stuff. But Sean Ross Sapp and shit, those motherfuckers can never come at me and go, "Oh, he's just bad faith talking shit because he's got a check and is trying to."
Oh yeah, they say it about me all the time because I have a check.
I know, but no one can ever say that about me. That's why I don't refuse to get it. I thought about getting it, but I'm like, once I get it, that changes. Like our boy Meltzer says, what? He doesn't fucking have one, and it's because then you can't say what he's doing is an obsessive grift. Like he's doing news on Dave almost, who's he's fact checking the news. You know what I mean, dude? Like, so.
But then, like at the same time, you know, like it is kind of a thing. Like when you have the blue check mark and then like something blows up, or like Tony Khan snipes at you, or somebody snipes at you, it's just kind of like, oh, cool. I guess I'm going out to dinner this week on you guys. Like,
yeah, well, for real, that's what it is. They don't,
because you don't make much. You think
not at
if any
all.
of you have dreams of like getting rich off YouTube monetization, I got bad news.
It's hard as fuck.
It's like $60. It's like $60 a month. It's like $80 a month.
It's a job, man. It's a fucking real job, dude.
But it's like it's a slog. I mean, like, and then if you tweet too much, you get flagged for spam. So it's, a matter of you have to be getting like millions upon millions. Like, is it worth it to like throw $8 in and get $60 out? Sure. Yeah, that's great. You go out to dinner. You go out to dinner. You buy some beer. Like, whatever. Like, buy a bottle of scotch. A nice bottle of scotch. But the
none of that cheap shit.
Yeah,
none of that cheap shit. Jake Roberts used
Johnny
to drink.
Walker Red.
But so AEW disciplinary committee, man, he quote tweeted Matt Hardy brand from February 15, where it's a promo graphic of a no DQ match between Jeff Hardy and Sammy Guevara, which we'll talk about in a second. And then Matt Hardy does a hashtag and goes 2020, I don't forget. And it's when Sammy Guevara threw the chair, concussed Matt Hardy, more than likely, busted his head open hard way. He's leaking everywhere. Now, this moment was epic in AEW, but this is also part of the reason why Guevara has go away heat, because this was where also Matt Hardy not long after this fell off the crane, and then Guevara proceeded to wrestle him and do flips onto him and shit. So
I don't forget, from the guy that got bludgeoned.
I don't forget, right? So
I don't forget. What was I talking about? Where am I? Robbie, Lita, where am I, Amy? Like, he just thinks that he's like, you bastard. Lita, you owe her.
I never delete these memories from my brain.
Oh, God.
So AEW disciplinary committee, he goes, hey, everyone, tune in tonight to see my brother get knocked out for real. Remember, Sammy did it to me too. Stay classy, Matt.
Jesus. And I love it. Like, they get knocked out.
That's harsh.
Get knocked out for real. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, everything else is fake.
So what happened during the match is Sammy Guevara does a shooting star press, lands on Jeff Hardy's face, breaks his nose, rocks him hard. And basically Sammy, it's like he always hurts himself and other people. I think he hurt Jeff before too. I think that he's 2 for 2 with both Hardys.
Oh yeah, and I have a theory that there's a bounty on them somewhere, and he's trying to collect.
Yeah, Jericho put a bounty on them,
or Edge.
I'm the only Attitude Era guy who can exist in Attitude Era wrestling. Matt Hardy quote tweets this and goes, Look, it's an internet nobody parading around as an AEW disciplinary committee.
Oh, God.
Troll account and judging me. That's adorable, Cupcake. How about you keep anonymously shit posting and I'll handle the pro wrestling aspect, Sweet Pea. Just the passive aggressive.
I was like, wow,
you both get the finger tonight.
I was like, wow, you know what? He called you Cupcake and Sweet Pea. That there might be something in there for you, Dis, because like I hear from the grapevine that he might be single soon.
Yeah, dude, no doubt.
If he's got any money left after she takes him to the cleaners, then maybe you can clean up.
So did AEW disciplinary? Yeah, I would have all I'm saying is if we're shooting shots now, like I'm quote tweeting his wife or something. Me personally, but I don't know. I'm a little more petty maybe than some other people, but he
had a great response to somebody the other day, and now I don't remember who it is. Like somebody said, oh, it was to your friend. It was to Sean Ross Sapp because he got to do it with him, and he was like, Sapp was like, I dare you to read your tweets aloud to your family.
Oh yes.
He goes, I'll do that when you read
that. I couldn't believe that. So actually, yeah. So Sean Ross Sapp said, "Hey, I'll pay $200. You read your tweets to your loved ones." And I literally challenged that. And AEW disciplinary committee actually DM'd me that, and he said you should make the $200 out to charity, which I will do. Sean Ross Sapp, $200. You put up $200. We'll send it to charity. It's got to be, you pick 5 of my tweets, pick 5 of your tweets. We'll read them on air, and I'll pick 5 of yours. We'll read them
he's got to read. He's got to read his DMs out to his wife.
to loved ones. Yeah. Your wife sits there. My girl will sit here next to me. I'll read 5 of mine. You read 5 of yours.
No, don't read your tweets, Sean. Read your DMs that you have with all these.
Well, whatever, man. Like, if he's gonna talk that shit, man, I know. It's ridiculous. I have him talk. I have him saying shit. You know, come on, man. Everyone does. Like, it's weird. That's just like a weird narcissistic thing to even challenge anyone on that.
So weird. It's so
and
weird.
Especially a goddamn parody account. Here's the thing.
I know.
What's crazy is that the accounts, like, I get a motherfucker. Like, okay, Dax blocked me. FTR. That's my favorite tag team. FTR. Dax blocked me. Why? I never talk shit about him, but obviously if I'm trashing other things that he's a part of, if I'm trashing AEW in general or one of his friends by proxy, I get why wrestlers will block an account. Like, you offend someone's friend or something and they see it, I could totally understand that. So, and like, I've talked shit on the
or like we said about what's with like the Ricky Starks and the Dustin situation, they're protecting the money.
Yeah, so Dax blocked me. That sucks because I've never trashed him. In fact, only the opposite. Like, he's one of the
I've actually trashed him quite a bit.
And that's fine. That's fair. And he's, and that's fine. Like, I don't care, man. It is what it is, right? That I got blocked. I'm not, but the whole thing is that, like, I could get someone blocking an account like, oh, Meltzer's talking shit about me, or like this whatever account. But when you're clearly called AEW Disciplinary Committee Parody and you're just like a joke account to just rip on, like, I'm sure there's like a joke account ripping on fucking Star Wars or Elmo. Is like fucking, like on everything, like name a thing and there's something making fun of it, so it's like,
it's like,
I don't know, man. I don't know why they're so sensitive and get so triggered by, they keep like getting triggered by the accounts that are just like clearly full on joke ass,
trying to trigger you.
Yeah, it's like, it's just trolling. And like, Tony Khan's like, oh, I grew up in the fucking forum days and shit. Well, you don't show it, man, or none of these guys. But anyways, though, he calls out AEW Disciplinary Committee, and then other people too. Like, who didn't other people respond to this? Oh yeah, so you responded. You said, "Oh, AEW Disciplinary." He called you Cupcake and Sweet Pea. I think someone has a not so secret admirer. Happy early AEW no milliversary, Matt. This post made Ric Flair bleed. I don't know. People are reacting to it. I thought another wrestler responded to this though, and was like, "Yeah, fuck this guy," or something.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember if that was a thing.
I'm not sure. But yeah, that's what, I don't know, man. What are your thoughts basically on Sammy just hurting everyone, and then the Hardy Boys?
I mean, look, Sammy Guevara brings nothing to the table for any wrestling company ever. He is, he's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing. He injured Jeff because, let's face it, in midair, going to take the knees, he bitched out. And, his knees crashed into Jeff's face. He's bludgeoned Matt Hardy. How many people does he have to hurt before? But,
and himself.
He's been injured a lot. He does the whole thing. Oh, I'm crazy when I'm going to the top rope. And, and just the stupid things he said in the past. Like, that he got, oh, yeah, sure. He got suspended. And everyone's like, oh, Sasha Banks forgave him for saying that he wanted to, do whatever to her. And I don't think she did. I read his statement and she was just like, I hope he like learns now that like that's not okay or whatever. Yeah. But he like, the problem is, and yeah, sure, yes, these guys have gone through training. I know Sammy trained with Booker T or something like that, but it's one thing to learn the basics and them. I think it's worse if you learned them and them and you were trained and then you just willfully like disregard them.
Yeah,
because
and just people are gassing you up and telling you what you're doing is fucking great. When he doesn't even know how to heel properly, he's never booked correctly. When the fans hate him, they try and push him as a babyface when they love him. Well, I don't know, man. We really gave I might title this like the AEW fucking trash show or something like that. Dude,
yeah, we're gonna have to do
no Vaseline.
And we got to do another episode where we talk about WWE and like talk about the the shortcomings there too, because there are plenty of shortcomings there.
Sure, man.
There are lots of things.
The shit. I'll get you. Should just come on and like review a Raw sometime or something.
You know what?
Review a pay-per-view with me.
I'll review Elimination Chamber with you.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
The one thing that I think needs to be said is like, we talk a lot about these AEW fans and like how crazy they get, but the vast majority of the AEW fans are not that. Like that's not that's not who they all are as people.
No, they're not.
Like
on
I feel
Twitter
like I feel like it's easy to like lump them all in as one, like to this fringe movement on like the outskirts of the the company, because and they're the ones that act like Tony Khan, but the majority of them are probably nice normal people. But it's the ones that, and there are some fringe crazies on the WWE side too. So the problem is not AEW or AEW fans. The problem is extremism and taking fandom to an extreme.
Yeah, and there's way
where you
too
start,
many extremist activists,
threatening violence,
crazy assholes in everything, in politics, entertainment, Hollywood, fucking you name it. That's
why I started my channel. I was like, let's laugh. Like, let's laugh at how ridiculous this is.
Yeah, me too. I was like, dude, we're gonna talk shit like we talk in the DMs. That was the whole point of the, like just being silly and whatnot. But Marv, where can everyone find you, man? Where can everyone find you? At Toon Wrestling on YouTube.
Yep, at Toon Wrestling on YouTube. I'm on X, Twitter, whatever.
At Movie Marvin.
At Movie Marvin. And Tooney Wrestling is just kind of where we're like based in YouTube. YouTube.com/@Toon Wrestling. And find new videos every week.
Check it out. Marv, thanks so much for doing the show.
You.
You're going to be on the live show when they start here next week, hopefully.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, man. Thanks for joining. And there you have it, man. There was Marv the Monster. I hope you enjoy that. Again, at Toon Wrestling on YouTube. That was a great conversation, man. And at, I think, Marvin the Movie or Marvin the Monster on X. Sorry, I should have had it pulled up. It'll be in the description below wherever you're checking this out. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. The regular show, I'm going to try and do Sting's final match review for Revolution and all that with Hairline and maybe someone else. I don't know. It depends who's available and who has what going on, but I look forward to bringing you more shows every week, which I'm going to do more and more of them, even if I'm riding solo. And man, we broke the 1,500. That was the plan for April Fools. We ended up doing it way in advance, so let's aim for 2K subs on the Clips channel for April Fools, and let's try and get to that 300 on the main podcast playlist channel there. Guys, the patrons, patreon.com/prowrestletimes if you want to support the channel. Another way to support the channel is head over to the Clips channel and become a member. I think it's like 99 cents, and when the clips get uploaded, you get them early. Sometimes, though, that's before the podcast comes up. The live show's coming, and we're going to do it on the Clips, Pro Wrestle Clips Live, I think will be the name of the show. So, I don't know, man. Shout out the patrons, though. Desirac, Cruz Madrid, Chris Killis, Ashley V, Russ Paxson. Get your patron membership if you want to get shouted out on the show. At Pro Wrestle Times everywhere. Thanks so much for rocking with me. He was Marv the Monster. Yeah, I was and am Phil Marks. Yeah. And see you guys next time.